I have full confidence in the highly trained officers on the ground. They're well trained to de-escalate. They're well trained in crisis intervention. And I have full confidence in the command structure and the management structure.
And that was RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki earlier this week defending the actions of RCMP in Nova Scotia. That should Lucki resign. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Perry Bellegarde says yes, he has lost confidence in her, he says. He's calling for the Prime Minister to replace her with someone who he says should focus on fighting racism. But is that the solution? Sipekne'katik Chief Mike Sack joins me now. Chief Sack, nice to see you. Thanks so much for being there. I know you're a busy man, but now I want to ask you just directly, do you think Brenda Lucki needs to resign?
Yeah, good evening, Joyce. Thanks for having me. That question came at me earlier today, and I put a lot of thought into it. And, you know, I'd hate to, I guess, say it, but I believe so. The RCMP were way behind on what happened there. I commend the RCMP officers on the ground. You know, they did a great job of what they had to work with. But unfortunately, coming from the top down, it just seems there doesn't be a big grip on the racism and what we go through as a minority group.
I understand that, but you just said that the officers, some of the officers, if I understood you correctly, did a good job on the ground. She defended the response of the RCMP. Is that why she should resign rather than perhaps sit down with her, talk to her? Is her resignation the only solution, is what I'm trying to ask you.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. I guess I should clarify that. I'm talking about the officers that are there lately. You know, they're doing a great job. At those days where the tensions were high, those officers were, I'm not sure, they just didn't know what was going on or what to do. So with that said, that's why I do believe that maybe it's not the right position for her. And, you know, maybe somebody else needs to be put in place that's well aware of racism and how alive it is. It's very unfortunate, but we're faced with that. And it's very scary when you're outnumbered and you don't know who you can call on or who you can rely on. And then when they go back on TV and they're, you know, backing up their statements and saying that they did their best they could, that's not enough.
Let me ask you now, today, how are tensions today? What's going on today?
It's nice and calm, you know, beautiful day, nice weather. It's pretty quiet around. I think the court injunction had a lot to do with that. And I also believe some of the charges that were laid were a big part of that as well.
Chief, let me ask you, if Brenda Lucki does in fact resign, if the Prime Minister, you know, says, yeah, okay, I'll fire my RCMP, what kind of commissioner, what do you need to fix the situation? Is it really the commissioner? Is the problem way at the top? Isn't the problem a little bit all the way down?
Well, I guess it would depend on the mandate that they're pushing down type of thing. So I personally don't know the commissioner and, you know, it could be premature of me to say, but from what I see and what I've experienced, there's been a lot of racism throughout Canada, and this is just putting it on the forefront. Thank God for cameras, and I think they definitely need to be more proactive. So maybe somebody else would do so if they were replaced.
So you said that there was a first group of police officers of RCMP that came and they didn't deal with the situation properly. But then you say there was a second group that came in and that did a good job. Were those RCMP officers?
Yeah, so I mean, on the ground now, there's a lot more RCMP officers. You know, they had the roads blocked off, not letting people in to cause trouble. So they're just keeping the crowd separate. But that day when you had 300, 400 people in one area and there's 12 officers standing there, you know, I think maybe more should be talked about than just the commissioner for the RCMP. Maybe it's, you know, other avenues to change as well. But overall, Canada needs to look at racism, make it a big part of a priority. And we're all Canadian, we're all equal. So treat everybody equal.
So what would that change that you're calling for look like?
Systemic racism, I believe. I wholeheartedly believe if the situation was reversed and there was 300 Mi'kmaq and 30 commercial fishermen, there would have been a lot more police in the area. You know, I'm sure of it. We've seen it in the past. So until I can wholeheartedly say I believe in my heart that that's not the case, racism is just everywhere.
No, I understand what you're saying, Chief, but are there others that need to step up? You talked about the RCMP not doing their job, but how about the federal government? How about the provinces? Because at one point, the federal government was saying it was provincial. The provincial government was saying it's the federal, it's Ottawa. So who else, and are there others who need to step up to help you and to put an end to this?
100%. There's no accountability. DFO, we call. We're begging for them to come out and save our people and protect us, and they go somewhere else and haul native gear. Like, where's the priorities, like safety or just checking traps? The RCMP say it's DFO underwater. DFO says no, it's a crime. Now it's RCMP. There's still hundreds of charges to be laid in that area for what we went through, and I thought those would have been out by now. So it's a slow process, and I think charges laid in the beginning would have slowed it all down.
Chief Mike Sack, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. Have yourself a very nice weekend, sir.
Thanks, you too.